Hello, hello. Sorry I'm late. Cool. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. A little chaotic for me. We're getting a late start today, 15 minutes late. So I apologize. But if you're watching on YouTube in the future, thanks for tuning in. We do this every 2 weeks, ideally at 4 p.m. Not today. So yeah, if you're tuning in on YouTube, we do this every 2 weeks. Today is the 1st. So the next time we'll do this is the 15th at 4 p.m. Yeah, we just hang out, we answer questions, we see what you're working on, see how we can help you, any support we can give you. And yeah, usually a fun time. I hope everyone's doing awesome. Had a long weekend, depending on where you're at. We had a long weekend here. Happy late Memorial Day. Cool. I think we're set up here. Welcome, welcome. Hope everyone's doing fantastic. I'm gonna jump into a layer here. Cool. Welcome, welcome. I missed the meetup from 2 weeks ago. Yeah, where were you at? No, good to see you. Good to see you, Captain Morgan. I hope you've been doing awesome. It's been a little bit. Pulling up some information. We got our What's New page. We got a lot of new stuff. We got more new stuff coming very soon. Yeah, so we'll go through this in just a second. Make sure I don't have any of my keys open. No, I think I'm good. In Tennessee. Oh, that's where I'm from. Home sweet home. Yeah, I went to school in Knoxville. I grew up in a little town in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, Crossville, Tennessee. I can pull it up on a map. I won't pull up my address, but I'll show you where I grew up at. Yeah, in Crossville, Tennessee, in the middle of Knoxville and Nashville. So fond memories. I grew up on a farm, and we had like goats and chickens and stuff. Yeah, it was 45 minutes to school in the morning. I do remember that, waking up early and having a long drive. I thought I could hear it in your voice. Yeah, that's the truth. I try to mask it sometimes. I lived overseas for a while, and a lot of people made fun of me for it. I lived in Italy, so they had a hard time understanding me. But now I'm in Florida, so everything's acceptable. Welcome, welcome. From Tennessee, import Derek as Wayscript Derek. Oh, that's funny. That's perfect. Yeah, that's a good one. That's the first time I've heard that one. That's for sure. I know I'm a few minutes late, so we'll go ahead and jump on in and get started. I want to leave as much time for questions as I can. So what's new? Let's see. I think this is new since the last time we went live. Maybe. Yeah, about 1 day. So now we have log history, which is pretty cool. I can show you that real quick. We'll do a time trigger. Do this every minute. And we'll just run a simple little Python step. All right, we'll run this. And now let me zoom in on the interface here. Now we have this fancy little history button down here, which I believe, maybe I'm mistaken. I thought it showed for manual runs, but maybe it doesn't. We'll do it with a different trigger. We'll do it with the HTTP trigger. Cool. So we have our variable that we're creating. We'll just pass it back. First output into response content. Go ahead, open that up. And I believe this should give us, yeah, so we got our testing. There we go. Let me move my, I'll go over here. Maybe a little bit easier. We got our little history down here at the bottom, right next to the log. So this is new. This is kind of cool. You can inspect it, which is what I just did right there. Yeah, pretty neat. And coupled with this, I don't know if it's in here or not. Yeah, so currently we have a maximum of 25 logs per script run. Manage third-party integrations, API keys, few module updates. Yeah, I don't know if it's live. I haven't played with it yet, but I believe there is now a setting somewhere where a user receives an email if this is not a success. But I'm not sure if it's live. So yeah, may have to dig into that a little bit more. Yeah, so that's what's new with us. We're working on some cool stuff coming up tomorrow, I believe. Probably shouldn't say too much about it because I don't know if we've locked in deploying tomorrow. But there's a hint in what I just said, so maybe you can figure it out what we're working on. But yeah. So that's what we got going on. Happy to talk about anything that you all may have that you're working on. If no questions, let me refresh. It's a long Zoom. Is it more new modules? I don't know of any going live tomorrow, but I know there are some features that are being worked on. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when new modules will come. There's a few features. I have one outstanding. Excuse me. I've got one outstanding that is pretty close to going in, which is an EC2 module. but not sure when it's going to go in. Looks like there's some Zendesk improvements, maybe. Oh, that might be a new module in itself, Zendesk. Yeah, no, I knew we had one of them, ZenHub or Zendesk, but yeah, so maybe one new module that we know about so far. But if you have any suggestions for new modules, we'll happily take them in our brand new Canny feedback form. I don't know if I should dive too much into this, but we are looking through different libraries, seeing what we can add. Probably won't be too frequent for new modules, but one every now and then maybe. Cool. So there's no questions. What I'll do is go through a brief overview of Wayscript. So can you do an HTML output? Not so much a website, but I need your Python to create an HTML file and then output it like a zip file, then to some FTP. Yeah, so I need your Python to create an HTML file and then output it like a zip. Yeah, we can do it. All right, so we got our Python code step here. I guess that's as much as it zooms. All right, so we have some information. We'll call it some info. This is a string. Well, actually, no, you need an HTML string. So some HTML string. This is an HTML file. All right. So you'll probably get it. Output the HTML file and then download it, then zip it for a download. Yeah. All right. So we'll write this file as an HTML file. Let me go ahead and pull up some code to do that. So we got that code right here, courtesy of Kite. So we stole some of their code. Okay, we got sample.html. Then we're writing some text to this HTML. This will be the string that we want to write. So we have some HTML string. And then we'll close. So right now what this will do is this will write an HTML file to our file system. There we go. So pops up over here as sample.html. And we have our HTML file with a convenient little preview too. I didn't realize that was working. But yeah, you can preview HTML. So now you wanted to zip this file. We can do that in the same step. So Python zip file. Let me grab some code for it. All right, I'll copy this and paste it in. Let's see what this is. So using some library called zip file name, specifying the zip file name, we'll call this sample html.zip. That probably needs to be sample.html. So it looks like we're reading in that file name, and then this library will take it and zip it. I haven't used this before, so hopefully it works. File is not a zip file. Okay, let's find some different code. We want to write a zip file. Why we need to pay for your side? Oh, why is there payment on the site? Well, we couldn't maintain it. We'd there is, you know, always going to be a free tier, but we wouldn't survive. We wouldn't last if there wasn't some form of way that we could pay. But I think we are very proud that there is a free tier. You know, you can just jump right in and start coding and not to worry too much. Zip single file. Let's try this. I want to Stack Overflow instead. Get rid of this. And it looks like we can make sample.zip. We can write it, and we can use this method to write whatever content we want. So I think here we can just put our sample.html. And I think this should work from what little bit I know about this library. Zip file is not defined. Zip file, oh, I don't need this. From zip file, oh, we can just get rid of this. Cool, let's try that again. All right, executed our code. Doesn't look like any issues. I broke it. Let's try again. This might be a limitation that we haven't figured out yet. Or maybe I'm doing it wrong. We'll view our code. Execute again. It populated to the left. Yeah, okay. So I don't think we broke it that time. I think it just panicked. But now we should have our sample.zip file over here, which has the contents of that HTML that we wrote up here. And then we can just download it. Yeah. And then if you needed a public URL, convenient that's there, we can just turn it on. So now you could share that link with whoever and they could just go and download your little zip. Cool. I think there's also a way that you can return this. So it's already public. We can just turn it public. But if you wanted to create like the actions to go and like programmatically get HTML and then return it. Excuse me, sorry. I think there's a file download. Yep, a file download. And then we can just select that zip file. Let me refresh. I think we can just select that zip file and then return it at this endpoint. Yeah, we can. So we can choose sample.zip here. We'll select it. And then we can turn it on. So super cool. And you can imagine that like we went and scraped some website for the HTML and then wrote the file, zipped it, and then created the download all in this one little function. I could try for a different question for you. That's awesome. Sync. Yeah. Yeah, I work out of sync all the time. That's a bad habit of me. Yeah. So if we wanted to, please share this. Sure. We'll share it and copy it over. I'm going to rename it. That way I can hold on to it. View details. Right. And zip HTML files template. Cool. But yeah, you could imagine that this was something even better. Like if you wanted to go and scrape some website for the page source and write that to a file and zip it for a download. And pretty cool. I'm surprised that we already have zip file in the already downloaded. That we don't even need to put it into the requirements.txt. That must be much more common than what I realize. I haven't used it before, but I guess yeah, I mean, it was very easy to do. So probably pretty useful. Now, I think I have seen you do something similar with CSVs also. Um, surely. Let me search it. Maybe not, but we can make that one too. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I probably have, but my organization is lackluster, I think is a good way to put it. All right, let's go ahead and make that out. CSV zipping CSV file template. We'll create that. So let's assume that we want some endpoint that we want a user to go to. When they go to this endpoint, we want to programmatically create a CSV. We'll do that using Python. We'll import something to make a CSV with. So I'll use pandas. And here we could just take in any JSON data that we wanted. We could go and get it from like an API, or we could just create something simple. So we'll say our data frame will be equal to PD data frame. And then we'll pass in, I think it's a keyword argument of data equal to A. But if not, it might just be A. And then we'll say df to CSV, and then we'll name the CSV. Sample.csv. I may be wrong on this keyword argument. Yeah, let's just go grab some sample data where you write a CSV and then you can download it, or simply downloading the CSV. Yeah, well, I'll go through the whole thing where we can write it and download it too. Pandas data frame sample. Here we go. Much nicer. All right, it looks like from their sample, what are we looking at? Number of legs, wings. Oh, okay. So we're looking at we're looking at animals here. df to CSV sample.csv. We'll write this to a CSV file. Nice. So I think we got that. We'll give it a few seconds to pop up over here on the left. There we go, sample.csv. Now, from that CSV, if you wanted to zip it, we could do the same thing that we did before. Let me go and pull that code. Or actually, I think that's still the tab open. Going and grabbing that code. Here we go. Opening this back up. So we have our CSV that we're creating each time. This is just static information here, but it could be something like an API response. Then we're writing that to sample.csv. We'll take that and say sample csv.zip, and then we'll write that CSV. So this one was sample.csv. Now let's run this. Let's see if it breaks. Oh no, I didn't find a bug. I just got unlucky. Oh no, I didn't. We got an error. Maybe there's still a chance. Import zip file. All right, so we have our dependencies imported. And we're fine. Oh no, just kidding. We found a bug. But I think it's fine once you refresh. I think it just panics. So we have our sample.csv now that we're creating with a little bit of Python code. And then doing the same thing, we can return it as a response for when a user goes to this URL that we create at this trigger. Then at that response, we can choose file download. And then we can select that file. Nice. So that's how I would do it. There's other ways too. Like if you didn't need the CSV to be dynamic, like you just wanted to host a CSV file that you just have. Like I have this one down here, junk.csv. You could just host it by turning on the public button. I don't know what's in this junk.csv. It's probably not important from the name, but I won't share it. But this one, you just turn it on. We'll copy the URL. And then if I went to it, I would try to download it. Unfortunately, I don't think I need to hold on to how many legs and wings a falcon, dog, spider, and fish have. But maybe in the future. Maybe I'll be regretting it in the future. I'm not sure. But hopefully that answers your question on how we can do that. I'll make sure to share this one publicly too. Oh, I forgot. A little button up here. That's helpful. Okay, cool. If there's any more specific like use case or something that you're working on, uh happy to help if I can. I don't know what's popular in the community right now. Oh, wow. I hadn't even noticed. Gestion Impact Helper. Wow, that overtook our top one by like double. I haven't even noticed what the. I'm afraid to click on it. I guess it's fine. Gestion Impact Check-in Helper is our top script. For more info. That's a GitHub link. How bad can it be, right? Let me open it up over here on my second monitor. That way it's not something terrible and then our channel gets. I have no idea what this is. But this is cool, I think. Every day at 9 a.m. run a Python file. Hmm. Neat. Yeah, no clue what it is. Maybe someone else knows what it is. uh, it's helpful. I'm building tools to improve my marketing. Oh, well, if you make anything good, pass it along. That'd be super nice. Let's see. Why is Wayscript so expensive? So it's not that expensive. I mean, it's we're very centric at targeting businesses, right? So if you're not doing anything that takes a lot of runtime, the free tier is pretty good. I mean, it's not the best thing ever, but um, we're designing this in a way that is targeting businesses with ample runtime. So let's see if the if you're running something that is critical to the performance of a business, uh, scripts like these that you can rely on are very valuable. So I feel if you're just a solo developer that is working on, something for school or studying or, independent, then, reach out to us. We'd be happy to, look case by case and see what we could do to help out. Um, be right back washing my Famous last words. Genshin Impact, I think, is an RPG, so you're probably checking to see if the servers are open. I, of course, could be wrong. Your guess is better than mine. Genshin Impact, I think, is an RPG. Let's see. Yeah, you're right. Role-playing game features an open world environment and action-based battle system using elemental magic and character switching. Oh, so it's like what is that game? It used to be on the Game Boy. With the character switching, it's like turn-based. Here, I guess I can pull this over. I want to say like Fable, but I don't think it's Fable. It was on the Game Boy. Um, I don't remember. Confirmed. It's an RPG. Yeah, so that's cool. I wonder um, where this audience is coming from, because that's a lot of clones. View count 459. So one out of two people cloned it, made a Wayscript account and cloned it if they saw it. That's cool. Final Fantasy. Close. I did play Final Fantasy, but I played that on PlayStation 2. Um, oh, what is that game? Let me see if I can remember it. It's gonna drive me crazy now. I just remember it being turn-based and the characters leveled up over time and you found like items and stuff. I don't know. I guess it's not important. But yeah, very cool. It looks like 250 people found Wayscript useful to log into their RPG, I think, and check in maybe for like daily rewards or something. Thanks. We'll reach out to you. I'm from India. Wayscript is a wonderful tool. Yeah, reach out. Gauntlet maybe, but it isn't turn based. Oh, I'm going down a rabbit hole trying to find this game. Fire Emblem. That's what it was. Yeah, this game. That's what it reminds me of. I used to play this when I was a kid, when I was like 12. So long ago. But anyway, sorry about getting sidetracked there. Welcome to the Q&A if you're just tuning in. Um, we're just viewing scripts. And if you have any questions or comments about a script or anything that we want to, or you want us to work through, we're happy to help in whatever way we can. And as you can see, we talk about anything you want to. So if there's something on your mind, please let us know. I could give you a good review for the service, worth every bit. Oh, thank you, thank you. So that's 3 years ago? No, I'm an old man now. I'm an old man. You see that? That was me like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Now I got all scruffy and old. we'll dive into a little script here, just in case anyone's watching that may not have seen Wayscript before. And play around with some Python code. And as always, if there's any questions, happy to answer them. We're just hanging out, seeing what's going on, seeing if there's any bugs that you're hitting. Good day, mate. Any solution for inventory management, stock on hand for something like big commerce? Yeah, so I played around with this idea a little bit. It could definitely use some refinement, but I've done you know, the sky's kind of the limit. It's how much you want to build on yourself, right? We give you the environment, but a lot of that stuff is, you know, you need a lot of features for it, which you can build them. You know, there's no limitation. Let me find where I built this one. So I've built a ticket management system before. It's not like a, you know, it's not like an ERP or like an SAP type tool. It might be on a different account. Let me log in to a different account here. Oh, I can find it in the marketplace. So ticket management system. Yeah, here we go. I guess I need to rename the other one. But yeah, so you know, you can build each part of it. We don't have, this is as close to an out of the box solution that we have, but it's not the cleanest. You could take it and make it pretty clean. I'm always scared to go to this web page because it's a ticketing system, so people can post whatever they want on it. Okay, it's not bad. So it looks like people just needed help. But you can build systems that work like this. And in this one, we have our dashboard. We have creating a ticket, reviewing a ticket, and closing tickets. Now, 24/7J has a great question. I love it. Cheers. Even if it just went into a Google Sheet or using a WordPress as a platform, perhaps. Inventory management. Yeah, so we can build let's build one out. Yeah, it shouldn't take too long. What time is it? 5 o'clock? Yeah, let's see if we can build this out by 5:10. It's gonna be the goal. So inventory management, simple solution. You could definitely improve it. So let's say you're okay with Google Sheets. So let's do that. We'll do a Google Sheet. We also have different databases. So if you wanted to do like a what is that database called? TinyDB. If you wanted to do like a TinyDB database, you could do it, or an SQL one too. If Google Sheets is okay with you, then that's okay with me. We'll set this up. I think I might need to authenticate into it. No, it's fine. I broke it though. All right, so we have our Google Sheet. We'll just read this file, choose file to read. We'll do a public doc, sheet 1. We'll sync this up. All right, cool. So here's some information. These are names, but we'll call them products for this tutorial. And then we have amount. So this will be our inventory starting out. So now what that does, set up read file, we'll run this. Now we have them. So we have our information from that Google Sheet down here. And let's say we wanted to make, we can change this if you want it to, but let's say that we have some form for managing goods movement. So in this form, we'll say goods movement. We'll do an element type. Might not be able to do the form trigger here. Element type. Text input, text area. Apologies about our element selectors. We'll do a selector, and then we'll say movement in, and then we'll do movement out. And then we'll do another option. And just kidding, we'll do a different selector, add a form element. We'll choose a selector. Actually, this time we'll do a text input. Product. All right, so we have movement type. Then we have product. And then let's do amount. All right, so here's our simple goods movement form. We can view this by clicking on it and going to this URL. This creates this form. So let's say now that we have our form, we have movement in, we can specify the product. Excuse me, sorry. And then we have amount. And whenever this submits, we'll say one of the products is my name. And then we'll say we have 10 more of me. We'll submit this. And now we can interact with those down here in this variables panel. So we get those inputs down here, and we can use them in our Google Sheet. Let me catch up. At the time of 300 cycle, okay, I'm not sure. I'm trying to keep up, but my screen is taking ages to reload with authentication. But I'm watching on my other screen at the same time, so I assume I can rewatch this. Yes, bless you. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and I'll even share it with you too. So if you just want to clone it, then you can do that. I'll give you the link. I'll post it into the chat. I just blocked that guy. All right, cool. So we have our form set up, and now with this information, we want to interact with this Google Sheet, right? So we'll pull in that Google Sheet. We'll read the file. We'll set up the read with that same document. We'll sync up here. We have our 2 columns. Nice. So now we have the, let me refresh. So now we have the information from the form on if the goods are moving in or out. And then we have our stock totals in this Google Sheet. So the last thing to do would be to compare the 2 values We'll do that with like a Python step. And we'll import these. So we have products, amount, and then we will have, whenever that form submits, that form information. So we can say products is equal to variables, products. Then we have amount, variables, amount. We'll go and submit that form so we can work with that information. We'll buy 10 more of me. Now we should have these variables, which we do. We'll go back into that Python step. And it looks like form will be equal to variables, form. We'll call this one column 0 instead of product, and then column 1. Sorry about that. All right, so now we have our form, and then we have column 0 and column 1. So these are our values currently, and then our form will be the change in those values. So definitely a lot of ways you can do this. What I'm going to say is if we'll do in form dot get input 1. So what this is saying is if the word in is inside this struct right here, this dictionary of input 1, which it is in this case, movement in, then we'll do our action. So our action probably needs to be what is our product, and then find that product in the spreadsheet and then change the corresponding value. So if it's in, then we're doing addition here. So if in form dot get, so we'll get the name of our product, which will be product name is equal to form dot get. We'll get the product, which is input 2. Then for so we need to find an index position of this first list where the item is. So for item in products, sorry, it's messing me up because these are names and not products. For item in products, if for item in products, if product name equals item, then we'll say index position is equal There's probably a cleaner way to do this. Let me do a quick search before I take us down some kind of crazy Python code here. Find position of item in list, Python. Oh, convenient. Index. So we'll say, I learned something new today. So the index position, we can just say our list which is products dot index, and then we can pass in the string, which in this case is just the product name. Print index position. I feel like I should have known about this. 1. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we know the corresponding location now. So we know that the value that we want to change is in the first position of our column 1, which Python starts at 0. So that's the second literal position of column 1. So now we can take that value and say we have our amount at index position equals amount. We'll do int to make sure it's an integer. So int of it scared me. I got a Winn-Dixie alert in my phone and it went crazy. So int of amount index position, and then plus, because it's a movement in, integer of our form amount. So this will be form.get input 3. And then we'll just have to write that back to Google. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll go ahead and finish it out, but I don't want us to get too lost in my confusion here. So all I'm saying is if there's n on that Google, that's why I went off, on that form, then we get the product, we find where that product is in our Google Sheet, and then using that position, we get the corresponding inventory amount, and then we add to it. Yeah, sure. I prefer to build it with you. Oh, cool. Now you write. Oh my, I just read that have a mouse invasion here in Australia. Oh no. Australia's got, um, it's probably just like American media, but there's always the stories about like the giant spiders and whatnot. Uh, would regex be a part of the script? It could be if you had a big long string of all your products or something and you wanted to programmatically separate them, you could do it that way. Well, it would be coming in via API. Oh, even better, like using BigCommerce. But I will go through this a little bit more detail a bit later in the morning. It's 6 a.m. here. Oh, well, good morning. That's very early. Yeah, so if you got an API, that's totally fine too. So you could customize um, you could set up a trigger here and take in information. Yeah, so the same thing would apply. Um, Instead of using the form, it would just be this trigger. And then Google Sheets would probably be the same. And then Python, it would be the same, how we're reading in these variables. And then from here, so we'll say new amount is equal to the former amount plus the new amount from the form or the API. Product is not in list. Line 7. Products.index Product is not in list. My new index method has broken on me. Index position equals products.index product name. Well, product name is the input. My form. So it's erroring because I didn't have a new value. That's what it is. And it's telling me that's not in that list. So I need to make sure that it is in that list. And now we should be good. So let's go ahead and print this new amount. We'll run this. All right, cool. So we submitted this form and we said that we had 10 more goods movement in of the product Derek. So now it's given us 95, which is right. And now we need to write that back. So with Google Sheets, I believe we can do it with the module. If not, we might have to use the API. This is a little bit more complicated because Google Sheets isn't really, it's not the best thing for like doing all this dynamic stuff to it, but we can make it work. So this will be we'll have our two lists here. So our new lists will be products, and this will be equal to the former list because it's not going to change. So products, and then amount will be a little bit different. So amount will be equal to a new list where the index position or the amount in that index position has changed. So we know the index position and we just need to modify that one value in the list. Is it just tracking inventory? Check input two. Yeah, that was it. You figured it out before me. Google Sheets does not have a write method. Oh, it doesn't have a write method? Oh, I hope that's not a staff. Just a staff thing. If it is, then we can do it with the database or something. We would be ideally looking at then perhaps generating options of generating purchase orders. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to. You'd have to, I guess you'd have to programmatically write the HTML code, which would be kind of tough. But I think that would be fine because you can programmatically write a table and then just insert the table on the purchase order that had like your information in it. Yeah, it seems very doable. But if you're gonna get into that kind of stuff, I would get away from Google Sheets a little bit. What I would do is I would integrate an SQL database. And someday Wayscript hopes that we can support like fully setting up the SQL database all on the platform. But for the moment, what I do is I go to like Heroku or something and get a little simple DB from there. Just because Google Sheets, it's if you're doing purchase orders and stuff, then it gets scary almost because like you can get writing locks and all sorts of stuff. Purchase orders, if the stock falls before number flag and it can reorder. And in that case, I would probably get it to make a Zendesk ticket. That way it has a reference number. Well, Wayscript does have Stripe. What was TinyDB and how does that compare to SQL? And yeah, Google Sheets sometimes have a limit to the API. TinyDB is just another type of database. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, TinyDB is, it's really just a JSON file. If you're not doing anything that's like, if you're a company that's taking in tons of orders, or placing a lot of purchase orders all at once, then TinyDB probably isn't that great of a solution for you. Here's a template. But all it is the backbone of it is this db.json file. And you just write and read to JSON using Python. And there's a library that makes, some of it a little bit better. Excuse me. It's not too code heavy, but it is still just reading and writing to a file. So it doesn't have a lot of the protections of like modern databases. So if you get like two writes to it at the same time, which one is it going to keep? It would be hard to know. So we would host that on my server, right? You could, well, yeah, you could, but it has to be publicly, or not publicly. We would have to, if you want to use Wayscript to access it, then it would have to be somewhere that we could access it. So if your server, if we could access your server, then it could do it. But you can host it on Wayscript too. Like here is one, and it's just all hosted on Wayscript. That ticket management system that we talked about earlier, that is a db.json file too. So it would work. If you're not too concerned about records, this is probably a good solution. If you're, if losing a record would cost you $6, then it's probably worth it to go and get like a Heroku solution or an AWS solution. I think I pay like $7 for Heroku a month. Let's see. Let me catch up. Simple transactions. So whatever is simple. Yeah, TinyDB simple. I have a dedicated server already. I mean the SQL. That works. Of course, it's the HostGator web server. Sorry. Oh, so you have some small hosting including, because it would only be small. Why are there no triggers to those? Yeah, so we can manage the infrastructure. So, for example, in this one, there's no triggers because this is just kind of a template. You could put on a trigger if you wanted to. Right now this one isn't doing anything. It's just kind of showing it. And this is public too. This is in the marketplace. So if you want to check out TinyDB, you can find it in the community tab. TinyDB template. And you can clone it there. But yeah, you could do it on here. And you could say, I don't want to, let me just clone this one. So you have some API that hits this endpoint with information. Then in this step, what we could do is in your TinyDB, we could just insert that information. So if yours was insert product apples and you had 7 of them, then you could just do that here. Of course, these would be variables from your trigger that you would create here, but I don't have those right now. So then you could just insert it into your DB. And then you can use Python logic too. So like if you wanted to do additions or subtractions or whatever, you could. Um, I think for like if you're using like a system like SAP, they just keep line items and then they do the calculation at the end. So uh, at least from my limited knowledge of it. So then you could just calculate it all using a little bit of Python. You could use a HostGator database in the solution and Wayscript would talk to it just fine. Yeah, yeah. As long as we can connect to it, we can work with it. I thought TinyDB was restricted to the local user's machine. You can email with SQLite, then use Postgres as your main DB. Your thoughts? Yeah, yeah. So TinyDB is file based, right? So um, hosting the file online, you can have multiple people talking to it. But as soon as two people talk to it at the same time, then you're going to have problems, right? Um, there's not a lot of protections in the sense of like what modern DBs do. So like Postgres, if you're hosting it or like SQLite, um, probably worth it in my opinion. If you're doing anything that involves like, you know, like I was saying, if a record losing a record would cost you more than $1, $2 or something, then yeah, I would probably do like SQLite or Postgres. Um, but it's up to you. The TinyDB databases are fun for like if it's just you and you just want like, I don't have to pay anything for a TinyDB file, whereas with Heroku, I would have to pay $5. Sometimes you can get a free um, database on AWS, but free on AWS I think means something a little bit different to AWS than what it does to everybody else. AWS I think thinks it's free for 2 weeks and then it's not. Let's see. And on a side note, I did send you a Facebook message just now thanking you. But if I'm looking to replace my Zapier, integrately, if it and have I found it? Oh, absolutely. I think Wayscript is awesome where a lot of other services just cannot compete, right? Um, if you're just wanting an out of the box integration, like of course, Zapier can get you like, if you just have a very generic use case, other companies can get you a very generic use case. Whereas Wayscript, you don't have to worry about like, if my situation isn't cookie cutter, then what do you do, right? Like in Zapier, or I shouldn't say Zapier, at other companies, um, you're stuck with what they give you. Meanwhile, at Wayscript, we do have modules and we do have pre-built stuff that you can use, but the idea is to give you an environment more so than like the tools, right? So then you can just build whatever you want, and it doesn't matter if your use case is, you know, ideal or perfect, but you can put in all the little intricate stuff. So I think so. I mean, um, I was using Wayscript like before I worked at Wayscript because I thought it was cool, you know. Um, so I think so. I use Wayscript more than I ever did anyone else. Uh, hey Derek, how's it going? Hey, hey Andrew. Uh, pretty well, pretty well. I hope you're doing good too. TinyDB is good for starting with DB and learning, I would imagine. Yeah, yeah, um, yeah, anything small, anything that it's just like you working on it, uh, perfect. It does what it needs to for one person. Are you planning to expand the list of packages? Um, Packages, uh, not. the top priority for us, but code languages and like more coding aspects of it for sure. Uh, you know, once you like, we can for sure add more modules and packages, but most of the time, like, uh, these APIs are huge, right? And we can add in like a few cool features of each one, but we can't add in everything. Whereas if we improve coding a little bit and maybe give more code snippets, then, um, then it opens everything up. Or, or we can somehow load them in from like Postman for the packages. Yeah, and that's been a recurring um, topic for us internally is community inspired packages. I don't know if that's probably not something on our immediate roadmap, but it would be a cool thing to consider um, to do, right? Because like you can definitely use any API that you want, right? Using a coding language or Python or JavaScript or um, anything you want. But it'd be really cool to uh, make a convenient way to where a user could share it on the community, and then we could go grab it from the community tab and easily convert it to a module using what they've coded. So that's a good idea for us. I don't know how we would implement it right now, but you're talking. Sorry, I'm way behind. You're talking to a non-programmer and me. I was heavily on If It for 5 to 6 years and made many programs. Then I needed to break out, and I discovered Wayscript and love it. Yeah, I think that's a cool testimonial. I think that's like um, I think a large problem in the low coding space of like if it is what do you want to do when you need more code, right? Like what happens? I think we have a good solution. We we definitely don't have as many modules as we could, but we're way more focused on developers and the coding aspect of it. Uh, how can we link up and build something spectacular? Your thoughts? Oh, that'd be cool. Like the webhook side, I'm still learning. Yes, sure. I'm thinking what the difference is here in the other parties. Yeah, coding is better. For example, Zendesk. Yeah, coding uh, is better. It's like a superpower, right? If um if it comes to mind and you can think of it, then coding can get you there. And there's a lot we could do with like code snippets and helping developers code faster. We want to be a really good place to program, and we're getting closer. We're getting closer. For example, Zendesk. I love learning and growing Wayscript knowledge, and I'm on Discord with the rest. Zendesk is what we use for our Bedrock. Yeah, I think we will have. I don't want to put too much pressure on a new member of our team, but I believe the Zendesk module. I mean, from what little, I don't want to say too much, but I think one might be coming, maybe. Um, I know we have Zen Hub, but potentially a Zendesk module, potentially. Um, gotcha. Yes, you can load from GitHub. Do you have something brewing with Notion API? Um, not currently aware if we do or not. That's a good question for me to ask. I think in the future, in like couple months maybe. I think this will be a lot more relevant to what we're trying to do. Um, don't know at the moment though. It might be. I just might be unaware. I believe Python and JavaScript is the reason why Wayscript is paramount because they give you a few Lego blocks like if it, but on the other side they give you a vector set. Yeah, yeah. We want to give you the environment, right? Like our goal is if I can write something and pass it on to someone else in my company, and they don't have to spend 2 hours trying to figure out how to use it, right? Or if I leave a company, they don't have to wonder how to maintain a tool, how to get it back working again. Um, you know, we're, the internal tooling hub is the objective. So we want to be the best at it. So is there a lot of good code on GitHub in relation to OSLint? We can host that on here. We can host that on here. Not sure if I get your question all the way. We do have some code snippets if that's what you're talking about. If you're talking more about like servers and running stuff, uh, like Flask apps and Node servers and stuff, then that's a big thing on our mind. We're definitely thinking about that. They're letting you use computers to run epic code with very little knowledge. Yeah, here's the keys to the kingdom. Um, yeah, do as you please. Well, do almost as much as you please. We've had to terminate a few accounts, I think, but um, not many, not many that I know of. I'm not sure if you got my question earlier. The system was saying that many of the packages were not triggers. Yeah. So, um, for example, that is, let me open this one up. This one's not public, so we can look at it. Um, so, for example, how modules and triggers work in our system, right? Is we go and query an API for the modules most of the time. So if let's say we have some module that's like um, we'll do I guess we can just do guesty here. So guesty, we go and query the API and we get information back, right? And then we put that information in an easy to use format for you to pass it on to other modules. Sometimes APIs like Guesty, they don't have a webhook. So there's no way for us to trigger a program execution if they don't give a webhook, right? Um, some of the modules that we do have those webhooks, but we haven't built out the trigger for them yet. So it depends. Modules are pretty easy to add. Triggers are a little bit tougher to add. So it's just an engineering lift. And we're still a small team, but we definitely see the value in triggers. So we're trying to add more. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Um, so what you're seeing is you're seeing modules that don't have a trigger, and you can refine those if you click this all button right here and just go down to libraries. I want to say, yeah, libraries, and then all the triggers are available if you go to triggers. So we're trying to add more. Um, I think our newest ones are Datadog and this SNS trigger. But yeah, modules are easy. Triggers are a little bit tougher. Um, if you knew how I have to learn, it would be spellbounding. I bet I could teach coding in a non-traditional sense so that any beginner could run what they want. Hey, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Um, I think that's super cool. Like things like Google Sheets, Calendar, Calendly. I mean, Calendly is all about triggers. Someone creates a booking. Size does not matter. It is not about size. Yeah, Calendly is a good one that we should probably make a trigger for. Um, yeah, that one's on me. I built that module, I think a couple months into being at Wayscript. So that one's my fault. I apologize. But now that we know that you want a Calendly trigger, um, we can see what kind of work it takes. Yeah, I built Calendly because I had this guy asking me for, I guess he did consulting or something and just wanted to pass events onto a web page with like prices. So, yeah, I think that was the use case. So I just created a couple modes, but a trigger would be nice. I don't think it'd be too bad either. Either. I don't know how new you are. Oh, I missed some. Sorry. Have you checked out PySimple GUI and PySimple SQL for a Python GUI solution in Wayscript? Um, Not sure if we have or not. I know that's something that we've talked about, having different like GUIs built out. Um, I'm not sure if that's on the roadmap now. I would assume so. I would assume that would be probably a big part, but I'm not sure. Probably. I know that's like the most um, vague answer ever, but probably. Haven't looked at those specific things, but um, definitely something that we're thinking about. I don't know how new you are to Wastecript, but if you found it like yesterday, I will say you found your correct solution. I've tried many others. Oh well, thank you, thank you. Yeah, we try to um, we try to make it easy. We try to do what we can. I saw you have Salesforce in there, so Zendesk can be easy. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Let's pull it up. Yeah, Salesforce is a huge API. Um, so that one was made well before I joined Wastegroup, but I can imagine that that one was a tough one to add. Supports OAuth, events. Yeah, just a standard RESTful API. Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. Is there any specific features that you're looking for? Yeah, doesn't look too bad. Just looks like a standard API. It might be a little tricky with the subdomains, but not too bad. I haven't used it before, so I'm not too sure of how many cool features we could add with it, but it seems compelling. Um, what were you using Calendly for if not for the trigger? Yeah, so um, yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it may not have been. It's been so long now, but I think it was. get user event types was the mode that was requested. And it was like he wanted to create a landing page where people could go and book different events from the landing page. But then I think he still used his Calendly account to manage it all. I don't really know, to be honest. But I just remember this was an easy module to add. So I added it quickly. So there is a Zendesk chat and Zendesk support. Yeah, we'll check them out. We don't, we're still a small team, so no promises that we'll be able to add them in. But, um, a lot of the team are really focused on like a really big project right now. So, and it's secret, so I can't say anything. But I I'm guessing that there's a few of us that will still be, um, getting to add in a few things. So we can take a look at it. Also, Zoom. Zoom, I think you will be pleasantly surprised for it. May be coming out this week. Don't get too excited though. I don't know if it's planned to come out this week or not. But it is something that we've worked on building. Google shares nothing if you don't know. I'm sworn to secrecy. Let me see. Maybe. But then again, I also do not know. Yeah, it looks like we got it. Yeah, so I don't know when it will come out, but it looks like it is planned to go out. Looks like we have the modes create a meeting and list a meeting. So that's kind of cool. Oh, is it already out? It may already be out. Oh, it is. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I don't honestly not sure if if we'll be able to do a whole lot, but we're working on some secret stuff. So modules and triggers are a little bit less of a priority for us right now, transparently. Uh, we're just working on building like an optimal experience for where we're trying to be. Should trigger when the recording is ready. You got a lot of ideas. You might have to help us out. You might have to start coding some of these, and we can add in your code if you want to take a shot at coding in a module. Yeah, we'll see what we see. We'll talk about it. Um, we're stretched a little thin right now, but it would be cool to add in a few more triggers. And if not immediately, that's something that we will be probably heavily focused on down. Maybe I don't have a long term roadmap, but in the future, we definitely see the value in triggers, and how important they are to the site. I bet Zoom is great for getting the word out of the meeting that's happening. Yeah, I think so. List meetings would probably be a cool mode. Um, List out the meetings and pass them on for sure. Oh, I'm getting a message that, oh, I went way over. I went way over. Sorry about that. Sorry about anyone in staff that's still in chat, hanging out. But I guess I got to go. I got to get off here. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Uh, Definitely a longer one. Sorry that was delayed a bit. But yeah, thank you all so much. The Discord, if you want to join it, we're all in here. So if you have any questions or anything, uh, we're happy to chat with you here. Um, the link for that's in the description of this video. So go down there and join us. But all right, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out. Yeah, hope you have a good one. Have a good day. Stay happy and healthy wherever you are. And I'll see you in 2 weeks, maybe. All right. Take care. Bye.